The mission. The wind howled across the barren plains as Cale adjusted his scope, eyeing the dim lights flickering in the distance. The settler outpost was small, maybe 4 or 5 structures surrounded by a crude wooden fence. His orders were clear: eliminate the target family. They were considered a threat to the expansion of his faction's rule. Traitors. Rebels. At least, that's what the mission briefing claimed. Cale had done this or a job before. He had learned long ago to quiet his conscience, to push past the tremors of doubt. War had taken everything from him once: his home, his parents, even his name. Cale was the name they gave him, the name of a weapon, not a man. He crept through the brush, silent and invisible beneath the cloak that bent light and sound around him. Each step brought him closer to the wooden fence. Inside, he saw a man chopping firewood, a woman setting bread on a windowsill, and no signs of guards or defense. Easy, but just as he was about to scale the fence, a soft cry made him freeze. It wasn't the wail of an alarm or the shout of discovery. It was a child. No, 2 children. Laughing. Playing. Cale's eyes narrowed as he shifted his position to get a better view. Behind the house, 2 little girls, no older than 6 or 7, chased each other in a circle, their faces glowing with innocent joy. Something inside him stilled. The girls ran into a small shed, giggling as they shut the door behind them. Cale remained frozen. These weren't soldiers. They weren't rebels. They were children. A family. He clenched his jaw and turned his attention back to the house. The man and woman sat down to eat, completely unaware of the death creeping closer. He had a clear shot. One squeeze of the trigger and it would be over. But then, something happened he didn't expect. A bird flew overhead and startled the girls in the shed. They burst out, laughing louder than before. One of them tripped, scraping her knee. She began to cry. Before Cale could move, the man dropped his fork and rushed outside, lifting the girl into his arms and comforting her. The woman followed with a cloth and gently wiped her daughter's tears. It wasn't a military unit. It was a family. Cale's fingers trembled on the trigger. His breath caught in his throat. And then, he lowered the weapon. He couldn't do it. He turned off his cloak and stepped into the open, hands raised. The family froze. The man grabbed an axe instinctively. The woman pulled the children behind her. Cale knelt on the ground. "I was sent here to kill you," he said softly. "But I won't." There was silence, then disbelief. Then the man slowly lowered the axe, eyes locked on Cale's. "Why?" he asked. Cale looked at the 2 girls peeking from behind their mother. Because of them, a past revealed. The silence between Cale and the family stretched for long moments. The little girls stared at him with wide eyes, their hands gripping the folds of their mother's dress. The man, tall, with a weather-worn face, still held the axe loosely in one hand. His name, Cale later learned, was Elias. The woman, calm but visibly shaken, was Lena. Cale didn't speak again until Elias finally broke the silence. "If you were sent to kill us, what stopped you?" Cale's gaze didn't leave the ground. "I've seen war. Enough to know that what I was told isn't always the truth. I thought I was eliminating rebels. But you're not fighters. You're a family." Lena stepped forward slightly. "Then why are we on a kill list?" Cale shook his head. "I don't know. Maybe you refused to leave your land. Maybe someone up high just wanted you gone. Orders don't always come with reasons." Elias motioned Cale toward a stump near the fire pit. "Sit." Cale hesitated, then obeyed. The axe remained nearby, a silent reminder of the tension still in the air. The girls stayed behind their mother, but whispered curiously. Lena knelt beside them, murmuring soft words that calmed them. She brought them inside the house, giving Cale and Elias a moment alone. Elias leaned on his knees. "What now? You've disobeyed direct orders. That makes you a target too." Cale nodded. "I know. They'll come looking when I don't report back. Maybe not tonight, but soon." Elias studied him. "So what do you want from us?" Cale looked toward the cabin where the children had disappeared. "A chance to make this right. I don't know how, not yet, but I couldn't walk away without knowing they were safe." For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Lena returned, offering Cale a cup of warm broth. He accepted it with quiet gratitude. "You were once like them, weren't you?" she asked gently. "Before you became a soldier." Kale's hands tightened around the cup. I was 6 when the war came. My parents tried to run. Our village was burned. Soldiers told me I was lucky to survive. They trained me, broke me, turned me into a weapon. His voice faltered. Those girls, they reminded me of who I used to be. Lena's eyes softened with sorrow. Then maybe this is your chance to remember. That night, Kale stayed in the shed behind the house, sleeping with one eye open. But nothing came. In the morning, he rose early, his instincts alert. As he stepped outside, he saw one of the girls, Mira, sitting on the porch, drawing with a stick in the dirt. She looked up and smiled shyly. "You're the man who didn't hurt us." Kale crouched beside her. "That's right. Are you going to stay?" Kale didn't know how to answer. He looked toward the horizon, where the wind carried the scent of danger. His mission was over, but a new one had begun. He just hadn't realized it yet. The hunters arrived. Kale awoke to the sound of thunder, not from the sky, but from engines. He was on his feet in an instant, scanning the tree line behind the house. Through the early morning mist, he saw the faint shimmer of a transport skimmer, military grade. He recognized the design. It was his factions. "They're here," he muttered. Elias emerged from the cabin, half-dressed, holding the axe. "What is it?" Kale turned to him. "A recon team. They come to check on my mission. If they find out you're alive, they'll finish the job and mark me a traitor." Lena ran out behind them, clutching Mira and her sister. Fear painted her face. "What do we do?" Kale looked around. The terrain was open, no good place to hide. The forest beyond the hill might offer cover, but not if they were scanned. "I have to lead them away," he said. "They're not looking for you yet. They're looking for me. If I draw them off, you'll have time to run." Elias shook his head. "You'll never survive. There's no cover between here and the ridge." Kale pulled out his tactical belt and clipped a small, disc-like device to his chest. "Then I'll make my own cover." The girls looked up at him with wide eyes. "Will you come back?" one of them asked. Kale knelt down and touched her shoulder. "I'll try." He activated his cloak and disappeared from view, moving fast and low through the tall grass toward the incoming transport. It hovered above the field, its doors sliding open as 2 armed soldiers stepped out, scanning the area with visors. Kale threw a decoy device in the opposite direction, and it emitted a heat signature identical to his own. The soldiers turned, weapons raised. Then Kale struck. With practiced precision, he dropped one soldier with a stun baton and kicked the other to the ground. Before the second man could cry out, Kale was on him, choking him unconscious. He pulled the soldier's communicator and spoke into it, altering his voice. "Target neutralized. Area secure. Returning to base." He threw the device deep into the woods to transmit false movement. It would buy him a few hours, maybe less. But just as he turned back toward the house, a sharp pain tore through his side. He staggered. A third soldier had remained inside the skimmer, silent, waiting. The sniper round had clipped him, grazing his ribs. Blood stained his shirt. Kale ducked, rolled, and vanished again under his cloak, disappearing into the brush. The sniper fired again, but missed. He had no time. He limped through the trees, clutching his side, leaving a trail of red behind him. His only thought, "They can't follow me back. The family must be safe." By the time the soldiers discovered the deception, Kale was already miles away, half conscious, his breathing ragged. The pain burned, but he smiled faintly. He had protected them. For now, that was enough. And if he died in these woods, it would be as a man, not a weapon. Redemption and return. Kale lay beneath a fallen log, barely conscious, the edges of his vision fading into darkness. Blood soaked his shirt, the pain in his side pulsing with every breath. For hours, he drifted in and out of sleep, haunted by memories, his childhood village burning, the faces of those he'd lost, the cold eyes of the officers who trained him. But one image pushed through the fog. Myra's smile, the innocence in her eyes, the warmth of Lena's voice. Elias standing protectively with his axe. A family he had almost destroyed, but chose to save. And he wasn't going to let that be for nothing. With sheer will, Kale pressed his hand to the wound and crawled. Inch by inch, he dragged himself through the forest. Days blurred together. Rain fell. Hunger gnawed. But he kept going. His mission was no longer destruction. It was survival. It was redemption. He finally collapsed at the edge of a river. The water was cold and clean. He drank, washed his wound as best he could, and passed out again. When he awoke, someone was standing over him. A familiar face. Elias. You didn't think we'd just let you die out here, did you? Elias said, lifting him with care. Cale was too weak to answer, but the tears that slipped from his eyes said enough. They brought him back, carefully, secretly. The house had been hidden. Lena and the girls had moved to an underground root cellar, reinforced and masked from aerial scans. Cale lay in the corner, resting, recovering slowly as Lena cleaned his wound and Mira brought him bowls of warm soup. You're one of us now, Lena said gently one evening. You saved us. Let us save you. Cale couldn't remember the last time someone spoke to him like that. With kindness, not orders. He nodded, unable to speak. Weeks passed. The soldiers never returned. The faction assumed Cale had perished. The mission was marked complete, and Cale was finally free. He helped Elias with the fields. He taught the girls how to use tools and repair simple machines. He carved small wooden animals for them in the evenings. Laughter returned to his life, slowly, cautiously, but real. One night, as the sun dipped below the hills and the stars lit up the sky, Cale sat outside the house with Mira curled beside him. Are you still a soldier? She asked sleepily. Cale looked up at the stars. Not anymore. She smiled. Good. I like you better this way. He smiled too, his heart full in a way he had never known. The man who had once been a weapon had found peace, not through orders or war, but through the very thing he had been sent to destroy. Family.